What is up, y'all? We're here for our weekly anchor message where we get our spiritual assignments for the week. On Sunday nights, I do the energy oracle forecast, and that gives us sort of the energetic weather, the spiritual influences that we'll be living and moving and have our being in, the general essence of the week and the flavor and the mood, and it kind of gives you an idea of like what you need to brace yourself for or what you need to open yourself up to take advantage of. And so on Mondays, then I write on Instagram our post about our anchor message, and then I come on later at night and do our episode, and then it posts and you guys see it sometime at the beginning of the week. So the readings generally are for the next 7 or 8 days, but really it's just like this ongoing story that just keeps building. And so, you'll see if you come back week after week, if you're a regular viewer, it makes sense. Like the story just keeps progressing and unfolding. So that just gives you some context if you're new to the channel. And if you are, welcome. Thanks for joining. If you guys have not already, please subscribe. And if you would, why don't you just go ahead and like the video? And if you decide by the end that you don't like it, then you can take that like away. But I think that you might enjoy yourself, if nothing else. Okay, comment, share, anything that you do, any action you take on this video helps it spread, so that other people can find these messages too that need them. Really how these readings work is that you're either a regular and you're in this growth group, or if you're not and it's for people who stumble upon the video and the suggestions and, they're caught by the title or something. Maybe they are just drawn to me, myself, my image, or something about the image that comes with the title. But it's spreading them out so that people can see them. That's what helps. And so I can make these videos every day, but I can only do so much to get them into the algorithm. And then the rest is kind of like I'm at your mercy. So if you're enjoying these videos, please sign in to YouTube so that you can like these and share and comment and subscribe and all the things. And I certainly appreciate it. While we're talking shop, if there's anybody that wants to support the channel, some people ask sometimes, I do put Venmo and PayPal links below. I haven't monetized yet. So if you were wondering, that's how you would patronize me. I do not yet have a Patreon, although people have asked me about that as well. I was just sweeping after midnight and trying to do chores. So I haven't had time to make one yet. I have started a TikTok recently, Liz_Taylor_magic, where I do different content there. And if I have time, sometimes I'll break them up into shorts and I'll post them here, but I don't always have time. So it's worth it to follow me on TikTok as well. So without any further ado, let's get into our anchor message and find out what our spiritual lessons are for the week. And if you want to get a head start on these earlier, then just follow me on Instagram at Liz_Taylor_magic. Okay, so for this week, one more note before we start the actual cards. So I have been talking a lot about the high holidays over the last couple of months, simply because you don't have to be Jewish or Hebrew centric to participate in the high holidays. These are windows in time, these open portals where we're exposed to the light of the Creator, different qualities of energy that can expand our consciousness and help us heal and give us energy and persistence to overcome and, help us overcome our ego and help us overcome addictions and help us repair relationships and all of these things. So it's not just if you're Jewish, like Rosh Hashanah affects you. It affects all the souls of mankind. So we just came through Rosh Hashanah where we cleaned the slate. We were atoned for the year. During Yom Kippur, We manifest the new soul so that we have a fresh new start and a sparkling new soul to go into our year with a clean slate. In between the days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, those are called, that's a time called Teshuvah. It's the 10 days of repentance. And so during those 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, our souls are coming in and being birthed, but we also need to lay like the infrastructure for the grid work for the light to flow through. And so this infrastructure are the 10 dimensions of reality that are also associated with the 10 dimensions of consciousness and the 10 dimensions of the Godhead. And the Godhead is like the different personality aspects and governing virtues that make up the abstract God that we refer to. So each day corresponds with one of those different dimensions. And so as we're tested in that area, it sort of lays the structure for the soul in that part of us. And so it helps us become a vessel that can function well for the year. So depending on like, it's good if you're challenged those days because it allows you the opportunity to break negativity open and reveal sparks of light. Rather than stay at the status quo, you're pushing the edge. You're breaking new territory by overcoming negativity, by meeting a challenge. So it's actually good that we're challenged each one of these days, kind of according to the category of that level of consciousness. So don't get hard on yourself if the last couple of weeks have been really frustrating. The key is to try to pause and recognize when it's happening, recognize when you're being triggered, and then you think to yourself, "Oh my God, what a great opportunity. This is actually giving me a chance to expand my soul so I can take in even more light and have even more blessing and even more functionality for the year to come. And it helps me align even fuller with my higher self and my ultimate potential for joy and fulfillment in my life and blessing and success." So let's see, where am I? So every day, it's like a countdown until we get to Yom Kippur. We manifest the new soul, the infrastructure, the grid work has been laid, and now just like you're putting the electrical work in a house, now you can turn on the light, boom, and the light comes in and the lights come on because we have laid out sound infrastructures. So now we are in a period called Sukkot. And now that we have the infrastructure laid, Sukkot is like another lap through those dimensions where we get our like turbocharged like electrical juice for the year. And the more joyous of a state that we can be in during this week, and this is like joy that we take in the fulfillment of the light, not just like empty vessels, not just in the material world, but it's really, we have that deep sense of fulfillment. And so this comes when we are in, say, one of these challenging moments where we're frustrated and we're being triggered and we want to go back into the old patterns. And instead we're like, oh, this fucking sucks, but this is great. I'm so joyous about this because this is really helping me turn over a new leaf. And it's going to turbocharge me to be like Super Mario in the year to come. And it's going to put so much more in my spiritual bank account that's going to turn into so many more opportunities and so much more abundance. I can't tell you how odd it is that like between last week and this week, between like Yom Kippur and now, it's like all of a sudden night and day of like, yes, there are frustrating things coming in, but it's like I keep getting like gifts and like unexpected like blessings and, you know, good fortune and things like that. So stick with it. Don't get discouraged and don't feel bad about yourself if you're being challenged. That's good. That's a good thing right now. It's a good sign. Okay. So the energy today that we just came through, like I'm referring to Monday that I've just, in my consciousness now that I'm awake, it's technically Tuesday, but it's still Monday to me. So that day, Monday, was the energy of Netzach. And that is the one that corresponds to victory, overcoming, persevering. I don't know about you guys, but today, this Monday, it was like riddled with ridiculous, absurd setbacks. And I just kept laughing through the whole thing. I'm just like, oh, I should be so mad. I dropped a glass in my bathroom upstairs as I was getting ready for work. And I knew not to have the glass in there because I was going to drop it and it was going to break on the tile floor. And I knew I should put it in the hallway because I'm not going to drop it in the hallway. It would just spill in the hallway. But because it would break in the bathroom, I was like, I don't need to be having this glass in here. It's dying to break. Shit you not. I don't know, moments later, come back, go to pick up the glass, drop it, shatters everywhere. Had I put it in the hall, it would have just bounced off the wood floor. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to be bothered. Can't be bothered. Leaving it there. Deal with it when I get home. Like, I just kept going. I didn't let it get me down. I didn't let it frustrate me. I was just like, you know what? This is great. This is great. But then it was just like dominoes, like the whole night. Like the shift at work, I was teamed up with someone and we were on a private party, and then we had a small section of the dining room which had a larger party that was going to sit down, and they were spaced out really nicely. It was going to be really easy, except both parties showed up early and only trickled in like a few people at a time. So we were spread in every direction, being run around like crazy by people going, oh, can you come back? Can you come back? I just wanted to get something. And you're just like, oh my God, if y'all will let us get organized and come to you, we can do this in such a better fashion. But it was just a nightmare, like the whole time. And then they were both needy groups. The private group grew by an extra 10 people. So we had to bring in like extra tables and put extra place settings down, like get that set up for 10 more people, bring in stacks of chairs. We're in the middle of doing this and no one's moving out of the way. They have no awareness. They do move out of the way, but then they leave all the furniture in the way, and then they're like, oh. And then they keep talking to us like with our hands full while we're clearly running around trying to do this. And they're like, can I have some more water? Can I have a Diet Coke? And we're just like, get the fuck out of here. But we're just like, this is great. I'm so grateful. This is so wonderful. And we just keep going and we make it happen. We persevere. We were victorious. It was a good night. It was a good night. But I just kept telling myself like, this is a blessing. These challenges, these irritating people are such a gift right now because I'm Super Marioing myself. So tomorrow, or whenever you're probably seeing this the day of. So Tuesday, the energy is back to Hod. Hod is the energy that corresponds with like sciences and maths. It has to do with our logical reasoning, our ability to dispassionately analyze the situation, to sift through the facts and assimilate the truth. It is about being able to discriminate and discern, not like the bad discrimination, but in a positive way. Like it's about being able to say like, okay, this is this and this is that. And this is this, and this is definitely not that. You know what I mean? Like you can be like, okay, this is the situation, and this is what the situation is not. This is healthy and positive, and this isn't. These things go over here, and this goes over there. It's a lot of organization, communication, logistics, thoughts, ideas. Really getting honed in on an idea. Like if you were, for instance, like an example would be like if you were coming up with a story for a screenplay and you kind of had the general gist of like the flavor and the mood of the movie and the look and sort of like the general character, and you kind of know like the main thing, like, okay, this is this character. I want to do a movie about like this character that goes to this and does that. But like that's not really that fleshed out. That's more like the inspiration we get in Netsack, where symphonies are formed and the muses come and inspire us. But Hod would be like, oh, I'm seeing where, okay, I know I'm fleshing more out with my character. I see like plots, like I know that like this is going to be the opening of the movie. and this will be like the how it's set in the beginning, and then like this will be my big plot point that kind of turns the story around and gets the real plot in motion. And this is kind of what it's going to be like in the second act. It's like you get your outline, right, and then you start going deeper, you get more detail and more detail. It's like you're honing in your focus and you're fleshing out an idea to reveal like this perfected truth, like math, right? Math is it's true or it's false math, right? It's either the question or the answer, the equations, it's right or wrong. Now, I know there's more complex maths where we can get theoretical and debate about that, but generally speaking, math is like always, it's an objective truth. Okay, so one of the other gifts we get this week, as far as challenges and overcoming long-held lessons and patterns and revealing sparks of light, is our anchor message. So our assignment this week has to do with healing our relationship with our mothers, and healing wounds that resulted from painful relationship cycles that we've had with our mother, and like difficult relationship dynamics we've had with our mother. So out of the wild unknown archetypes, we've got the mother, we have the starborn, and we have the bardo. Underneath mother, we have the tower. I know, foreboding. I think we're all okay, all right? I know none of us want to see the tower card when it comes to like our mother, but I think everything's fine. The starborn, underneath the starborn, we've got Ace of Swords. And then underneath the bardo, we've got Page of Pentacles. And don't let the bardo scare you so much either. Okay, so this is what I think this message is talking about. So the mother, the starborn, and the bardo. The mother is literally talking about our mother and the expectations we have around mother, and being able to use that hod energy to discriminate and discern, okay, what is realistic for me to expect of a human woman as far as mother goes? And what am I holding up like the standard too high? Like, am I putting my mother on a pedestal and expecting her to be able to pull off like the archetypal perfection of woman as mother? This is the trap of every mother, right? No mother can be perfect. And yet every mother strives to be as perfect as she can, to do the best she can, and knowing that she's going to fall short. Every mother is set up to fail. We got the starborn here. The starborn talks about like the destiny that crowns us when we're born. And in Kabbalah, this language, this word would be called tikkun. Tikkun is our soul blueprint and like workbook of assignments for this life and for all the lives that we've had previously that are attached to our soul. The soul has gone and sojourned through multiple lifetimes, right? And through every lifetime, every soul, when it is brought into existence, is given this pretend like it's like a bag of density, of dark, negative density. And we are all like, the rent for being here in the physical is to go through a process so that we can transmute that darkness and that density into light. Matter is neither created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed. So we are here to be alchemists in this life and take darkness that would be perpetuating for eternity as darkness and being bounced around humankind as destruction, as anger, as toxicity, and be contagious forever and perpetuate. It's like, no, we're each given our own toxic nature and negativity and shortcomings and things that we put in our shadow. And this is what we are given as opportunities to transform these things in ourselves. And when we break that negativity, it's like we just reveal more of the light of the Creator that's already coming out from within us, from our spirit. And so that when we're breaking down those shells of ego and those layers, right, we're getting closer to being in alignment with that higher self, with that version of our soul that has been elevated to have affinity with the spirit version of ourself. And the spirit version of ourself is like that little cup of source light that is pure. It's just pure light. It's pure source energy, right? And we each we're each like a piece of that source experiencing life through the perspective of your soul, of your personality, of all of your experiences, right? Think of a cast iron skillet. You don't wash it away with soap. You let the layers build. It becomes this, you call it seasoning the skillet. It gets this rich flavor over time. And it's part of the way that you care for the skillet. Same with us as a soul, right? Like we have these layers of personality. And without our ego, we would just be pure source light, but we wouldn't have any individuality. So we're each given these aspects of self that we can elevate, that we don't have to kill completely. It's like we just need to tweak them a little bit, fine tune them. And then we have this unique set of pairings that make us uniquely quirky us, right? So the starborn, the destiny, the tikkun. So our tikkun is like, pretend like you're a soul about to like go through like the portal, and you've got your little soul parachute on, and they're like, all right, you're about to jump. Are you ready? And you're like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm gonna go to Earth. I'm gonna do the process. I'm gonna elevate sparks of light. This is like the wind. I'm like talking into the wind of the like standing on the edge of like the plane with like space wind flying up, and they're like, okay. I know that your backpack's already on, but here, I'm going to hand you this. You're like, oh, okay. All right. I'll hold on to this. And what is this? This is your assignment for this life. This is where you're going to live. This is who your parents are. This is where you're going to go to school. These are the bullies that are going to taunt you. They're going to play on your deepest insecurities so that you can rise above them and become spunky and tough, and you can get moxie, and we can all really cheer for you because everyone likes an underdog and nobody likes Tom Brady, right? If you just like win all the time, like, oh, I'm just such a winner. I never have a hard time at anything. It's just like everything comes so naturally to me, and I like never lose, and I just keep winning. And I got to marry Giselle. I didn't even appreciate her. It's like, right? We're gonna come here, we're gonna get fucking beat up to shit, we're gonna get the mud kicked in our face, we're gonna be embarrassed, we're gonna have to overcome so much challenge, right? But heavens are rooting for us, right? Rudy. So, tikkun. The things that challenge us most, we have these assignments. We have people that are going to be our friends and our lovers and our parents and our siblings and coworkers, and the people that bring us the most happiness and joy, like they might have been assigned to us too. But it's usually the people that bring us challenge, that those are the assignments. And so our parents, we were assigned our parents. And the parents that we chose, or we got together in a group and we're like, okay, we're going to work this stuff out together. And in order for me to elevate this about myself in this life, I'm going to need you to be like this way. And you're going to need me to be like this way in order for you to elevate that thing. And we are like really going to be working together really well on this. And so it's like your parents, like your mom is difficult to you the way that she has to be assigned from heaven in order to provoke your evolution. It's the pressure that provokes your evolution. It doesn't excuse each other's wrong behavior. you're still having to like work off all of the shit and the baggage that you throw at someone. It's just that it takes a little bit of the taking it personally out of it when you know, like, okay, we have been assigned to go through this together. And so it doesn't excuse anyone. You have the choice. Like, we have free will. We can bypass the process if we have the realization and we can start embodying it. Like, we don't have to go through these hard lessons, right? But we do. So all the things that have been difficult about your mother, all the things that have been difficult about you to your mother, it's like those were the things that you were given in order to figure that out and rise above those challenges. And for instance, and I think that a lot, like the reading is talking about enmeshment and maybe having like an overbearing parent. And so you may have to speak your truth, right? So basically right now, so we have this tikkun, these wounds that that we're healing, that were always assigned to us. One of the great workshop exercises in Kabbalah classes are to answer, what are 3 difficult reasons why I chose my father for this life. Difficult things about my father that have made me have to overcome certain things because of his shortcomings. Right? Like if your dad was an alcoholic and he was like, whatever, it's like that was like, that probably helped you in some way. Like maybe you were really angry about it and it caused you to like seek attention in negative ways. But once you like realized that, it caused you to be able to have an even more like sturdy sense of self-love. And the thing is like, it's like the harder the pain and the wound is, like, or the more difficult the challenge to overcome, it's like you reveal even more positivity when you're on the other side of it. So it's like, what are 3 difficult reasons that you would have chose your father and your mother? And like, what are 3 things about you that are difficult for them that would have been like reasons why they would have chosen you as a child? And it's not because of all the good things, like, well, they're so blah, 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 and I love that they're this, like the hard things about them to swallow. Pick 3 hard pills to swallow. Going both ways, like, what are 3 hard pills to swallow about you for them? That's your assignment to them. So think about that right now in context with your mother. These are the things that you can heal. These are the relationship dynamics that can be changed and healed right now. And even though, let's talk about the bardo before we go into more detail about that. So the bardo is a period of time that's sort of like limbo, when we're out of the ending of one thing and the beginning of another. And it's a time when the veil is thin. It is a time when the spirit is near and there's an opportunity, like an open portal of energy. The high holidays, hello. We're also going right into eclipse season. So we have about 1 week. I thought that we were done with Sukkot, but Sukkot is like all the way up until I think this weekend, and it ends in an event called Simcha. And that is an all-night Torah study. Yeah, after like weeks and weeks of just being beat all to hell, it culminates in an all-nighter studying Torah joyfully with gladness. No sleep. But it's like the more you push through your comfort zone, the more you like restrict the body's desire to just have like instant gratification and comfort. Again, the more light you are revealing. So we have this opportunity right now. We're in the high holidays, so we've got all this light that's like showering over us that we can like, I like to like use my lamp, like all this light coming in, and we can really take it all in if we keep just like meeting our challenges, continue to try to heal, to elevate these parts of yourself, and these relationship dynamics. that have been playing out, and maybe patterns that have needed improvement or healing or elevation, or maybe some of them are downright destructive and toxic, right? So we're healing that. So high holidays are going on, and then that leads us right into eclipse season. So eclipse season is all about like sudden, major, crazy change. It's either going to take stuff out that is in the way of bringing this change in, or you've already removed things and now big opportunities are going to happen and big shifts, right? So eclipses equal change, big change. So if you are, if you've already been doing a lot of work to get rid of the toxic influences and habits and things like that in your life, then, it's possible that like big opportunities are going to start showing up. If there are things that you're trying to hold on to that you don't want to let go of, the universe might force you to let go of them. But ultimately it will be to lead you towards your greater fulfillment. So it's just forcing you to make room for an opportunity. So use this time while you can. Also, October is just a month that is known and beloved for being very mystical, and the veil is very thin during October, and our ancestors draw nearer to us during this time. So again, you can connect with your ancestors to break the sins of the generation, to break ancestral curses, to break family wounds and patterns that get passed down, right? And so your ancestors might be close by trying to support you and encourage you in this. It's like every part of the universe is trying to help us heal, transcend, and elevate from our former state and be able to cross this portal into a whole new life, into a whole new us, where the old stories don't apply anymore. The old dynamics don't apply anymore. Everything can be different. All of the universe, all of the cosmos are trying to support that change in a positive direction. So it's like now's the time to jump on that bandwagon and use that energy for, your momentum, because it's not always going to be this strong and this supportive. And if you resist change and if you resist the growth now, like the status quo is going to become intensely toxic and uncomfortable for you. So get on in, y'all. We're going in a new world. So take advantage of this moment while we have it. This is a destiny point. We are aligning with our destiny through all of this. We are getting rid of anything that is not really authentically us and what is not helping us ultimately align with that highest good and our higher destiny. And so there are maybe going to be like opportunities that are sudden and swift change, right? An opportunity may come up to change your relationship with your mother. This could be positive. This doesn't have to be negative. I know it's like a frightening, but this is basically the destruction of false securities and illusions, right? So what I started to talk about earlier was basically being enmeshed with our parents. I mean, this is very common. I mean, the easiest basic example of this is my parents wanted me to go to law school, and I went to law school, and I do not want to be an attorney. I hate it. It makes me miserable. And now I'm trying to force myself into this position, a square peg and a round hole in a place that I don't belong and I'm not happy in. And now I'm bitter and miserable because I have self-abandoned and I am putting on this facade just to make them happy for the rest of my life. And now I have a low-level hate their guts. You know what I mean? So this might be a situation where you might have a dynamic with your parent playing out. And maybe they're a bit overbearing. Maybe they were a helicopter parent. Maybe they're very opinionated about your life. Maybe they're very controlling. Maybe they feel very out of control. And so they are comfortable with going to you to project a need to control. There could be many dynamics that are going on. Specifically, though, with your mother this week, think about anything that has been an unhealthy dynamic that you go along with to get along, right? To just maintain the status quo. It may be time to just start changing that behavior. You may have to speak your truth in a compassionate and as compassionate and loving as you can to your mother. You may need to have just like a gentle heart to heart. People's personalities are all different. I know that sometimes there are certain people that you can't just have an honest conversation with, that you can't have a heart to heart with. Maybe your mother isn't physically available to you, or emotionally available. And in that situation, we can go into a deep meditation and drop into our heart and speak to our mother from soul to soul, from a psychic place. And it seems like it's just something in our imagination. But when we do it with a sense of gravity and intention, and, you know, we really tune in with that intention to connect our heart and our soul with our mother's soul, and we have this vivid image of it playing out in our mind, those thought forms, that astral realm, that's real. On a certain level, that is a real place. So you can actually proactively confront and speak with someone at a soul level before you ever talk to them in person. In fact, part of the steps of proactive confrontation in Kabbalah require that you have the conversation at a soul level before you have it physically. Because if you have it at a soul level, it might resolve the issue completely and you never have to have the conversation. Sometimes you do. Another couple of things to consider before you confront someone, this is part of proactive conversation, is what are your motives, right? Are you coming from a creator consciousness or a destroyer consciousness in this moment? Are you coming from a giver sharing consciousness or a taking consciousness? So think about that. Think about your motives. Think about, is this the right timing? Does, like, timing is a factor? What are the conditions in this situation? Is there a better time, or do things need to calm down before I bring this up, kind of thing? Is this person able to hear me? Are they open at all to receiving what you have to say? Is there any hope of actual, like, taking this in, or is it just going to perpetuate more conflict, more separation, more division? The goal is unity and healing, right? So, again, not everyone can have a nice heart-to-heart with their mom. It's not always possible. So, this is very relatable to the people who have a difficult time that way. Do the best you can. But in other ways, you don't have to be like, make a grand announcement and be like, all right, from now on, I'm going to be on my authentic self and everyone else just has to eat it. Like, you can just start behaving in a new way. And when the other people in your life are adjusting to that, then that might bring up opportunities to have gentle, compassionate conversations. That might be a natural way to maybe lead into it instead of just having some random, like, hey, we need to talk, kind of thing. So different relationship with your mother is possible now. It could be very fast, sudden, major change. There could be an opportunity come up this week to actually, have this issue, to finally face this issue and discuss it. There could be an unexpected event. There could be an argument. Let's hope not. Try not to be combative or divisive in any way. But also don't shy away from the opportunity if it presents, but also go very slow and be very intentional and be very careful about how you communicate, right? We don't want to be blaming. and shaming or guilting, right? And I mean, expect that the other person's going to feel defensive, right? It's not pleasant when someone speaks a truth to you that you were not expecting to hear, right? So Godspeed there. Underneath the Starborn, we have Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is like, oh, lightning strike of clarity. Oh, sudden insight. Oh, I can see it all so clearly now. I have revelation now that I can now embody in myself. I can put this into practice. This is about a fresh perspective. It's about new ideas, new ways of thinking and seeing things. And so this moment is like this, you're starting to get the key of, oh, okay, this is the thing in the relationship with my mother that's been affecting the way that I feel about myself in regards to this. And I think that it's because of this assumption that I drew because of this. So you start unlocking the patterns that have been laid and all of the unconscious limiting beliefs or assumptions or belief systems that have been laid just by all of these interactions and these relationships dynamics. And it's not necessarily that your mother even had to have said things to you that you buried away in trauma. It can be just subliminal things that you picked up through your dynamics that she never even realized, right? So that can be even harder. It's almost easier if you're like, yeah, my parent, was a drug addict and they meant well and they really loved me, but they just really struggled with their own addiction. Easier to pinpoint than a parent who has subtle things that were left behind, right? Because there wasn't any obvious like, oh yeah, totally, this is clearly the reason why I have this, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's not quite so easy to unlock or find what are these limiting beliefs that I have? Where did these patterns come from? What are the patterns? What are these dynamics, So again, but I think that this week, the benefit of a moment like this is that it helps magnify all of those things that you're looking for. If you're really open to seeing them and you're really able to be honest with yourself and you're trying to be present with eyes wide open. So yes, the key to a lot will come forward this week. Lots of ability and opportunity to heal. And then the Page of Pentacles. It's like the Page of Pentacles is the student. It's the person who's learning. So it's like we're learning from our past. We're learning what these patterns are and how they've affected us in the way that we behave and our choices. Because the mother is the divine feminine in our life. And so the feminine is the intrinsic. It's our feelings, it's our emotions. It's our worth, it's our self-worth, it's how we feel about ourselves. And so depending on how you feel about yourself, that will determine what you think that you deserve and what you're capable of receiving. So again, this week, there may be discomfort, but it's an opportunity to really learn what's been holding us back, learn how to increase and deepen our self-worth. How do we heal that self-worth so that we can call in this new life and have new experiences and new mindsets and new abundance, and a new affinity with the light and harmony and goodness, right? And blessing, instead of being, in these perpetual cycles of round and round and round, right? So yeah, big learning experience, putting that, what we're learning into practice. And it is practice because we are, we're starting out again. We're like, we've been made aware of one level of ourself, and now we're like up leveling to the next level. It's like when you graduate from high school and you go to college, you're a freshman again. So we're in the low levels of the next level up, and we are learning about how to embody our higher self more. We're learning about how to have better relationships, and we're learning how to heal our relationship dynamics with our mother, with other people, and we're learning what our wounds are in association with the mother, and like what was left behind in us through the dynamics that we had with our mother. All right, you guys, I'm tired. I'm insane. I'm talking in circles. I need water. I need sleep. I need a shower. I need food. I'm a baby. All right, y'all. Be good, but not too good. Ciao.